And it's Irad Ortiz Jr. and White Abario with a 2-length lead. Dermot Sotogake gathering late momentum. White Abario has won the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic over Dermot Sotogake. Proxy was on the scene for a minor piece, as was Bright Future with Arabian Night. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Beer Can Man, Roses for Deborah, both out very quickly. And on the inside, here comes Living the Dream. Living the Dream is very quick, as is Jasper Crone. So these two sizzle down the backstretch with Roses for Deborah a length and a half behind them. Beer Can Man is in the clear. Motorius in traffic. Caraval is down at the rail. Arzak Green Silks passing horses on the outside of No Balls. It's another length and a half back to Aesop Foibles outside. On the inside is Big Invasion Gear Jockey, second to last. And Tony Ann is at the back. And it's Living the Dream, blazing the way to the top of the stretch. Pursued intently by Caravel, who's got a clear shot. Nobles comes through along the inside. Roses for Deborah in between. Arzak's running a big race. And Aesop Foibles on the far outside is closing stoutly late. Here's Nobles coming through to take the lead close to home. Far outside, Aesop Foibles. Here's the line, and Big Invasion. Nobles held off an absolutely flying Big Invasion. Aesop Fables finished up in third. Behind them, there was a battle that included Motorius.
Here's to the breeder, Dr.
Three Technique going in. And Gunite completes the line. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Qatar Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint. And Speedboat Beach, like a rocket, opens up a length and a half immediately. Gunite is up close in the early going, and here's Nakatomi firing through to challenge Speedboat Beach for early supremacy. And then it's Hoist the Gold racing in between horses. Dr. Shivel is at the rail, just about 2.5 lengths off the pace. The Chosen Vron, the California bred, has 3 to make up. He is just in front of Elite Power, who is kept wide, but very close to the pace, just about 4 lengths off them with 3 furlongs to run as the field moves around the far turn. 3 Technique is at the back of the field. Speedboat Beach is the leader. Gunite pressing, and Elite Power making his presence felt with a 3-wide bid as the field turns for home. Dr. Shivel is next, and then the Chosen Bronze. Speedboat Beach comes to the 8th pole in front of Gunite, who's trying his best. Nakatomi and Elite Power is cut loose now, and Elite Power runs right by, and he's going to defend his championship. What a magnificent sprinter Elite Power is, as he rolls home in the Qatar Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint. Gunite, Nakatomi, Speedboat Beach were left in his wake. And what a day for Curlin, the dirt mile, the distaff, and now the sprint.
Keeps his stable start.
And there are the Eclipse Thoroughbred colors for She's Bulletproof at the top of the hill. They're in the gate. And they're off. It's a quick start for Lunar Impact. Gem Mine is flashing sharp speed and now up to take the lead. And just in behind them comes Madiha, and Woodbine Way fires through to take third. That group is followed at the rail by Stay and Scam, who races about 4 lengths off the speed as they head past the half-mile pole. Just outside of her is Northeast Star. It's another 2 lengths back to Alvina. Lunar Impact, who broke well, is next, followed on the inside by Vida Lara as they head behind the trees, and they are still well behind Gem Mine, who has opened up a 3-length lead. At the back of the field, Divinely Bolt is racing just in front of Real Fire. It's another couple of lengths back to Irish Patsy, and She's Bulletproof has a lot of ground to make up as they come to the quarter pole. And Gem Mine has been the controlling speed, maintains a 2.5 length lead. On the outside, Madiha's running a good race and closing stoutly after her. Stay and Scam is in the mix too in the final furlong. On the outside of them comes Real Fire. Madiha, Stay and Scam is coming swiftly. Madiha just in front. Stay and Scam, a final try. It will be Madiha for Team Levenger to win it. Stay and Scam was second. Lunar Impact finished third. Then it was Gem Mine, and the battle for fifth included Real Fire.
Win, lose, or draw, you got to admit the last 48 hours here at Sanita has been nothing but fun. Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Quigley, your seminar host for the next 40 minutes or so. And sitting next to me, somebody who witnessed all the Breeders' Cup races. You see him every day as the host of the simulcast feed. His name, Peter Lurie. Peter, happy Sunday. Welcome to the seminar.
Thank you, Tom Quigley. I'm a big fan of your work.
I see that on Twitter all the time. You're just reading off of Twitter.
I know. Well, I really enjoy, everything you do. Here we go.
And the feeling is mutual. How are you? How's the Breeders' Cup hangover? How you feel this morning? Thank God for that extra hour of sleep when we turned the clocks back last night.
I needed it, man. Let me tell you something. It was a lot of fun. It was great to see a lot of friends from all over the world, frankly. And it was great to see that they're loving what we do here in Southern California. That was what really made me kind of feel a little emotional. There were so many people coming around telling us that what we're doing is right. And I think that's fantastic because we love racing. And that's what it's all about. I will say, though, Dermasotagake wins the race. Petey's a very wealthy man, but it wasn't to be.
Well, speaking of the Breeders' Cup Classic, it's interesting you would bring that up because we want to rewind the tape and listen to Larry Comas call the action in the Breeders' Cup Classic just to rub it in a little bit more.
Wound.
Whiteberry, of course, the victor. But let's watch the replay and enjoy the Breeders' Cup Classic from yesterday.
Ready for the start. They're off in the 40th Breeders' Cup Classic. And Arabian Night storms out of the gate. Saudi Crown couldn't get to the front as Arabian Night immediately comes to the inside and will grab the front end as they race by us for the first time. Saudi Crown is forced to go to the outside. Dermasotagake is next. White Mario is fourth. And then it's Zandon alongside of Proxy, 5 lengths off the lead. Miss the Cut is next. After that comes on the outside Bright Future, a 3-wide Dreamlight. Clapton along the rail. The trailers are Senor Buscador and a ground-saving Ushpa Tesoro. Around the first turn they go. And Arabian Night is the leader through a 22.46 opening quarter mile. He was rushed to the front end here, and the pace is hot. Saudi Crown a length and a half behind. White Mario stalks in third. Dermasotagake is fourth. He's 3.5 lengths off the lead. Then it's Zandon. 3 back to Proxy alongside of Miss the Cut. Ushpa Tesoro has moved out of the back of the pack now. He's 9 lengths behind up the backstretch. And then it's Dreamlight, Clapton, and Senor Buscador. Bright Future trails 45.73 was the half mile for Arabian Night, who leads it by 3/4 of a length. Saudi Crown on the outside second. White Mario continues to stalk the top two as they race for the far turn. Dermasotagake has come under pressure. So too Zandon. They're both being asked to run, as is Ushpa Tesoro, and he's 9 lengths off the lead around the far turn. Arabian Night. White Mario circles up on the outside. Saudi Crown all out between those two. Then it's Dermasotagake. Ushpa Tesoro is beginning to move on the outside, but work to do as White Mario and Arabian Night turn for home together in the Breeders' Cup Classic. White Mario has taken the lead. Arabian Night gives way. Dermasotagake and Ushpa Tesoro are trying to close the gap, but it is White Mario and Brad Ortiz, and they have won the Breeders' Cup Classic over Dermasotagake. Proxy came late. Was it a...
Pete Whiteberry, the winner of the Grade 1 Whitney at Saratoga, emerges victorious here at Sanita roughly 3 months after he won that particular race. But Dermasotagake, the 3-year-old who we hadn't seen since the Kentucky Derby, and you really like that horse, put up a tremendous performance, a very gallant performance, but still was second best.
We were doing it all for First Racing, for XBTV. I thought people are going to laugh at me when I give out this pick, but I you know what? I said it in the hit that went around the country. I'm going to say it right now. It does not matter at this stage of the game. The Japanese have spent decades cultivating their racing with homebreds, with broodmares brought over from all over the world. Many times they'll say, did you work? Doesn't matter. We got our works in. Are you worried about coming in quick? Doesn't matter. Our horse is ready to go. I, for one, have no doubts. If the Japanese think they can win, they're going to win. I say bravo to all of the trainers and owners who brought their horses out this year.
And a sincere thank you, as Pete just mentioned, to all the horsemen and the horsewomen, the trainers, jockeys, exercise riders, grooms, and of course the horse players, all the employees here on track, both from Santa Anita and from the Breeders' Cup. It was a spectacular two-day event. We were certainly proud to host it here at Santa Anita. Next year it'll be hosted at Del Mar Racetrack down in San Diego County. But first things first, we've got an excellent 10-race card today that we've got to fight our way through as well. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Mirmati and get the scratches on today's closing day card here at the Great Race Place.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to closing day at Santa Anita Park, where the track is fast, the turf course is firm, the rail on the turf stays at 0 feet. Here are the changes. There will be mandatory payouts in all pools today. First race, scratch number 6, Sea of Cortez. Race 1, takeout number 6. In the second, overweights, number 3, Teddy's Triumph 2 over, and 4, Please Use the Portal, 2 pounds over. Turning to race 3, there are no changes. Fourth race, numbers 2, 4, and 6 each carry 2 pounds over. There will be a middle pick 4 today, beginning with the fourth race. In the fifth, start of the $1 pick 6, and of course, mandatory payouts in all pools, including the pick 6. No changes in race 5. The sixth is the grade 2 Goldakova. It's the start of the late pick 5, as well as the new $3 all-turf pick 3 on races 6, 8, and 10. No changes in the Goldakova. Race 7 kicks off the late pick 4, scratch 4 New York Dreams, and scratch number 6, Stan from Malibu. 4 and 6 are out. The 8th is the grade 3 Autumn Mistakes. Scratch number 3, Be Your Best. Program scratch of 6, Alternate Rock. Scratch 7, Star of the Night, and scratch number 9, Free and Humble. 3, 6, 7, and 9 out of the 8th. Ninth race starts the Golden Hour Pick 4, combining the last 2 races from Santa Anita Park with the final 2 from Golden Gate Fields, just the blinker note. And in the 10th race, number 9, Del Mar Jerry carries 1 pound over. Golden Hour double starts here. And of course, we can't remind you enough, including the super high 5 in the last, mandatory payouts in all pools. Enjoy closing day at the Great Race Place. We are 57 minutes away from the opener, which goes off at 12 noon. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. Tom Quigley's special guest is Peter Lurie.
Welcome back. We're talking horse with Peter Lurie. He's the simulcast host here at Santa Anita. You can see him every live racing day. No racing after today until December 26th. What are you going to do with your spare time? This is home, right? This is home.
Yes.
We're getting kicked out of home for basically 2 months, but we need to recharge the batteries.
You know me. I'll figure out something to do.
I can only imagine.
But, I love this place.
I do too. A great 10-race card today. It's actually a very good card. A lot of jockeys are sticking around to ride today's card as well that are from out of town. Joel Rosario, Luis Saez, to name a few. Sheldon Russell coming in from Maryland as well. So really good racing. So let's kick things off here, Peter, in race number 1, which begins the 50-cent early pick 5. As you heard track announcer Frank Mirmati say, mandatory payouts in all pools, of course, including the pick 6 and all the multi-race pools. And we kick it off here in race number 1, going 1 mile the turf course for maiden special weights. The rails today on the turf course are at 0 feet. There is one scratch. Scratch the 6, Sea of Cortez. There are 3 first-time geldings. Number 1, Caribbean King. Number 4, Precision Strike. And number 5, Ghost Coast. And I also should say number 8, Surf Affair. And the morning line favorite in the current betting choice at 6-5 is number 3, Legislator, who already won this condition, Pete, and got DQ'd. But I have a feeling you've got this Peter Miller runner on top.
I have no idea who's going to win this race. Guys, don't listen to me. I'm kidding. Okay. You're right. I think Legislator is the horse to beat for this one. I think you go back to what we saw over at Del Mar, and I think both the races at Del Mar make sense, and they're good enough to win. I mean, let's just call it what it is. This horse, since coming in from Woodbine back in August, has done absolutely nothing wrong. And to make to make it even more interesting, this horse was facing winners, and as you pointed out, won and was disqualified back on August 13th. Again, let me say that, versus winners. Almost won, coming up against winners on September 4th. Shows up on October 14th. It was a good race. It wasn't a great race. I think the second time out, I think it's more of the mile and an eighth was a little too much for him. I think the mile fits this horse a lot better. Flavien Prat aboard for trainer Peter Miller. You're not getting a good price at 6-5, but I think for a lot of people, this might be a single to kick off their pick 5. If you want another horse, Caribbean King, the one for trainer Peter Urton. What can you not say about Peter Urton? The guy's hitting at 33% at the meet, 23% on the year. This is a newly turned gelding. I will preface, though, gelding, speaking as an owner, sometimes it moves them up tenfold. Sometimes it doesn't do a thing. So don't think that's the end result. I just believe if the speed falters, this is one of the horses, along with Legislator, who should be coming down the stretch. And
Caribbean King, you can see last time out, lost to Seal Team. Seal Team came back yesterday to win the Twilight Derby here very impressively for trainer Richard Mandela. That race produced 3 next out winners, including Seal Team and number 3 Legislator. As I mentioned, another out-of-town jockey who I neglected to mention, Flavien Prat, will ride the current betting choice. Race number 2 begins the 50-cent early pick 4. You'll notice we're sprinting on the main track, 5.5 furlongs, multiple races today, including race number 2. And race 2 is for maiden claimers, 2-year-olds, in for a $32,000 tag. Again, 2 first-time geldings. Number 4, Please Use the Portland. Number 7, Sir Looking Glass, the morning line favorite. Once again from the Peter Miller Bar. Number 3, Teddy's Triumph, 8-5, according to John White. What's this race according to Peter Lurie?
You know what? I don't want to be a chalk-eating weasel, but squeak, squeak. I'm going to go with the 3 Teddy's Triumph on top. I do not think you're going to get anywhere near 8-5. Really, what it comes down for me, TQ, this was one of the races that I just said, and I'm not kidding this time, I have no clue who's going to win this race. Teddy's Triumph has had 2 maiden special weight races. Peter Miller took his time. The horse has been working well, decided, you know what, enough is enough. Let's put the horse in for maiden 32. Let's get the W. And if somebody wants to take it, fine, so be it. If you like another horse in the race, I got to try with a new shooter, because I personally, and this is just my opinion, don't get those X's out. You say tweets, but you can't say that. Seaside Ride. First-time starter for 6S Ranch. It's a clubhouse ride, so you know his trainer's Craig Lewis. Lewis, again, 17% at the meet. The horse's works are not what I would call fantastic, but it is a maiden claim in 32 race. Antonio Frezu aboard. He's had a very, very strong meet. I like this cat. A lot of people, as usual, will say, oh, he's probably just a turf rider. No, he rides both very, very well. So for me in this race, Teddy's Triumph on top. 2-horse Seaside Ride, no strong opinion.
Pete, you mentioned in the first race the impact that first-time geldings have. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's not. What about in the case of Teddy's Triumph, who's taking that drop down in class? Some people call it the biggest drop in racing. Do you kind of subscribe to that theory,
Absolutely.
Pete?
Absolutely.
As an owner, of course, you know, you've played this game from many different facets: owner, jockey, agent,
Right.
broadcaster,
Breeder.
And so you do like this type of angle.
Well, I do and I don't. Yes, it's the biggest drop you are going to find in racing. What gets me is when you'll see a maiden special weight and then they turn around and the horse is running for 20. That's the ones that you got to say, okay, there's something up here, because they're not just going to give the horse away. A lot of times what you got to do, in my opinion, is you look at a horse like Teddy Triumph and you say, okay, this horse that was at OBS in 2023 when they made the purchase. What did they spend? $30,000. They took a shot. They said, let's see, we might have something. They tried the grass. Grass wasn't to the horse's liking. I just honestly believe it comes down to the fact that they're saying, look, we're getting towards the end of the year. We're going to Del Mar. A lot of people are going to be dropping their horses because everybody wants to win at Del Mar. That's just a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. We should just put this horse in where we think they fit. Get him in there. If they win, great. If not, then we know what we really have.
And expanding upon what Pete just said, the fact that the connections of Teddy's Triumph entered in 2 consecutive maiden special weight races tells you that they did think that they had something. And now maybe, as Pete mentioned, the drop down to this realistic $32,000 level is all he'll need to visit the winner's circle. Race number 3, we're sprinting on the turf course. 6 furlongs is the distance for allowance optional claiming types. Non-winners of one other land. A field of 8. King Apollo from the Kristen Mulhall barn is the lukewarm 3-1 morning line favorite. Talk to us about race 3, Pete.
Okay, I did not weasel out on this one. I think this is a race that's interesting because you mentioned it's 6 furlongs on the flat. There is a fair amount of speed in this race. Nobody that's like, I have to go, but I want to be very, very close. Because of that, I want somebody that maybe is going to be a little keen, maybe coming off a layoff, and that appeals to the one-horse Hawker. This horse for Hronis Racing in West Point for trainer John Sadler. Big shout out to the Hronis family. They are huge, not only for racing as a whole, but especially here in California.
They give back to our industry. They give back to the community.
Stephanie is now on
multiple boards.
Huge part. Costa and Pete Hronis, not only here, but they're buying horses. Everybody always talks about horses get claimed and whatever, and then they go out of the state. We don't love that. You know what the Hronises do? They go around the country. They like horses. They buy them and they bring them here. So how can you not root for people like this? This horse is coming off a March freshening. This horse has been running on the turf. I think the cutback might help this one. I just believe that might be the case. The works aren't sensational, but I did think over at Los Alamitos that October 20th, 59-3 from the gate, that was the 4th of 10th going on. You might say, well, Pete, you're never a huge fan of the workers coming over from Los Al racing here. True, but this is a turf horse.
Exactly right.
If you're going on not the long thoroughbred meet course, if you're going on the Los Al course, which they probably were, I don't know for a fact, those are very narrow turns. That reminds me of old the Fairplex Park. And what used to happen back there was a trainer. We love it. Barry, we're still looking at you up there in that great racetrack in the sky. Barry Abrams would run his turf horses over at the LA County Fair meet. Why? Because he said it's narrow turns. They feel just like they're on a turf course. Maybe the footing's not the same, but they get that same feeling. That's the way they're trained. So I expect that this horse coming over is ready for a big effort. I'm going to put Hawker on top. However, if you're looking for 2, and I am got to go with Peter Miller again. Go back that 5 furlong race in August with the 3-horse, Mr. Iceman. It was a huge effort. This horse showed a lot of gumption right down to the wire. I just think that last race on September 10th, they got shuffled back early. This is a horse that, if you notice, their style, they're up close. They're not in the lead. They're very close. They got shuffled to the back of the pack, and I think that horse just got confused and said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not usually here.
1 and 3 in race number 3 for Peter Lurie. An additional comment, on number 1, Hawker. You can see he's a son of Justify. Justify sired 2 Breeders' Cup winners, and Hawker is actually a half-brother to Commissioner, who earned $900,000 in his career. I have a feeling that's why the connections of Hawker paid $675,000 at auction. Race number 4 on our 10-race card today, we're offering a 50-cent middle pick 4. That's right, a 50-cent middle pick 4. Starting in race number 4, and race 4 is 5.5 furlongs in the main track. For maiden claiming, 2-year-old fillies in for a $32,000 tag, a field of 7. Number 2, Bossy Brew and Gal, putting the blinkers on for trainer Doug O'Neill, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Another live mount for Tony Fresu. What say you?
Well, I will say that is $1 million move for me. And I used to call these, when I was a little kid, my dad, and there was a writer named John Saunders, some of you might remember, wrote a lot of books on handicapping, used to use this angle. It doesn't work as much, but it's still effective. When you see the last race and you see a horse showed speed for the first 2 calls and then drops out of the race. Now, what makes it a move is you have to drop in class. What are they doing? They're leaving the juvenile turf and going in for a maiden claiming $32,000 tag. They're also going from a mile on the turf back to what I think is more of, I expect to see them run better at 5.5 furlongs. So that's a move. However, you're not getting a price with this move. 2-1 the morning line probably will go off. I don't think odds on, but we'll be close. With that in concern, am I including the pick 5? Yes, I am. Am I including the pick 4, mid pick 4? Yes, I am. But I'm going to put the 6, Capo Sorella, on top. Here for Tim Yachtin, the barn uses J.G. Torrealba. We've watched him. Does he have stuff to learn? Sure he does, but all apprentices do. But this kid is very polished. He's very strong. He is familiar with this horse. He's been aboard for the last two, and the horse has been racing at this level. This will be the first time, that this horse is racing where they're training at Santa Anita. Horse has been training well, at least I believe so. The times don't say it, but I think the horse gets over the track well. I think it's the right place to put this horse. Capo Sorella has got some speed and draws the outside of whoever might have speed. And you know me, I like that. I feel it's a tactical advantage. If you're on the speed, especially sprinting, I'd rather be on the outside than the inside, because if nobody goes, you go. If they don't, you sit.
Race number 5 begins the $1 pick six. Again, mandatory payouts in all pools, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. And we kick the pick six off, sprinting 5.5 furlongs on the main track for $10,000 claimers, a field of 7. And number 7, Big Sweet, is the 5-2 morning line favorite. Look who's on board. Tony Frasu trying to close out this meet with a bang. Talk to us about race 5, Pete.
You know what? This was another race that I didn't really have a strong opinion about, but I'm going to take a shot anyway. I'm going to go with the 5 horse, Quick Finish. Quick Finish here for Victor Garcia. Victor Garcia, the trainer, of course, his dad, King Juan Garcia. We all say, hail King Juan on 3, 1, 2, 3. Hail Juan.
Correct.
There you go. Hail King Juan, actually. I just think this horse makes sense in this race. Yes, the last couple of races have not been what you would consider competitive. However, they are dropping this horse down. I know it's an open 10, and sometimes they can be salty, but I just think that most of the horses in this race, you just don't really have a feel for who's going to win this thing. I think 3-1 by John White on the morning line, it makes sense because of that, based on this horse's run against probably tougher. This horse is cutting back in distance, which I believe they've only done twice. They did hit the board, and that was a while ago with this 9-year-old son of Vronsky. So I'm going to put Quick Finish on top. Not a strong opinion. 7 horse on the outside, Big Sweet, as you just mentioned. Absolutely got to use this horse. Was a winner for a non-winners at 3 at Los Al. Came over to Santa Anita and a 12-5 open. My only reason for not putting him on top was it a good race? Yeah, it was good. It wasn't great. It was kind of one-paced for me. So I feel like in those kind of races, they're going to need help up front to be successful. Can they win? Absolutely. Do you take them off your ticket? No. But I'm going to go with the other one on top, hopefully for a little bit of a price.
Pete's top pick in race number 5. Number 5, Quick Finish. You see, if you have the racing form in front of you, has 4 career wins. 3 of them occurred right here at the main track at Santa Anita. Race number 6 offers 2 wagers. Start of the 50-cent late pick 5, and also our new wager, the $3 all turf pick 3. That comprises the final 3 turf races on every single card here at Santa Anita. And we kick it off with a really good race. The grade 2, Golden Cova, going 1 mile on the turf course for fillies and mares. Field of 6, morning line favorite again on the bottom. Number 6, Queen Goddess from the Michael McCarthy barn. 2-1 on the morning line. A lot of ways you can go here, Pete. Which way are you going?
Yeah, and I had to change things up a bit because obviously we had a scratch in the race I was kind of pulling for, but we readjust. I'm going to take a shot on top with the 5. Too much info here. I'm looking at the wrong race. My apologies for everybody. Excuse me.
Can't skip over the stakes race.
It's been a long
on today's card.
It's been a long week, pal.
Yes.
It's been a long ride.
You've been doing a lot. Let's put it bluntly.
Okay, here I go. Ready and action. You are absolutely right. This grade 2 Golden Cova, by the way, one of the great ladies ever to be in turfdom. A fantastic horse. To me, you just got to go to the rail trip here. Closing remarks for trainer Carla Gaines. This horse had won 2 of the last 3. Is hit 7 of 10 hitting the board at the distance of a mile on the turf. The horse doesn't have what I would consider a ton of speed, but I believe in this compact field of 6, nobody with the exception of 1 horse has speed. So I think is the most likely winner on the rail trip. However, if you are looking for a theft, why not include the 4 Hamwood Flyer here for Phil D'Amato? Yes, it's Phil D'Amato. What does Phil D'Amato do? Phil D'Amato wins races, especially on the grass. I wouldn't be surprised there's a little mini turf course in his backyard. Nobody uses it. He just wants it there to say
personal training center.
Personal training center for his dogs. Just let them run around, and we'll know they'll be ready for the Wiener Dog Nationals. Not that we know if he has a Wiener Dog. We're going on a limb there. This horse has opened up speed. Okay, now I realize you say to yourself, Pete, come on. Last 2 races, the Grade 1 Matriarch and the Swing Time. This horse had a nice, easy lead, ran off with the group, and wasn't able to finish. You are correct. However, I believe that today is going to be a different story. If this horse doesn't run off, he would have been my top selection. If he doesn't run off and gets legitimate fractions, I think they can win wire to wire. I don't see anybody else who's fast enough to stay with him. Maybe Queen Goddess on the outside will make him roll. I'm sure Luis Saez did not stick around for nothing. But I still think if this horse can get out and can get comfortable, maybe it's a different story. But hence why I put the 1 closing remarks on top.
And number 4, Hamwood Flyer, Pete mentioned the last time out, ran in the Swing Time Stakes. You'll also notice that was her first effort in 2023. This is her second off the long layoff, and according to the racing form, the Phil D'Amato barn wins at a 24% win clip whenever he has starters second off that long layoff. Race number 7 is where we have 2 scratches. Scratch the 4, New York Dreams, and also number 6, Stand for Malibu. There are 2 first-time geldings, number 8, Kislovaski, and also number 11, Jimmy the Boot, morning line favorite, one of the 3-year-olds in the field from the Gary Studi barn. Too much info. A lukewarm 7-2 morning line favorite, I should say. Also, race 7 starts the 50-cent leg pick 4. You're close to the Gary Studi barn. Did he whisper anything in your ear when you saw him this past weekend?
He did not. Stand for Malibu, as I said, was my play. Unfortunately, not going today. I hope everything is right. I'm sure it probably is. But I now have too much info on top. This horse it's really done nothing wrong in the last 3 races. Came out of that 6 furlongs race. I think the extra half furlong cutback might help this horse. They didn't get a great start. Gary Studi has been using Giovanni Franco a lot. So Gio aboard for this one. It's the end of the meet. I say Gary is a tremendous horseman. It's all about the stock you got. I think he gets the W here. Heartbreak Kid, the 7 for George Papadodromo. If you go back to that maiden 20 win, I think it makes a lot of sense, even though it was an extra furlong on September 4th at Del Mar. They got aggressive here at Santa Anita. They went optional 50. Obviously, that experiment is over. Let's throw this horse back in to a race that makes a lot more sense. $20,000 maiden claimer. You should be for 12, 5, 16, non-winners of 2, and that's where they are.
Race number 8 is our second stakes race on the card. It's the Grade 3 Autumn Miss Stakes. 1 mile of turf course for 3-year-old fillies. 4 scratches out of this race. Number 3, Be Your Best. Number 6, Alternate Rock. Number 7, Star of the Night. And number 9, Free and Humble have all been declared out of the race. I should say. Number 4, Anisette, who was brilliant down at Del Mar, is the 8-5 morning line favorite. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Pete, I want to show a replay from the Unzip Me Stakes. 2 runners in this particular field for the Autumn Miss exit that race. The winner, Ruby Nell, and also Justique. They'll be easy to spot. Ruby Nell is in the Spendthrift orange colors, and Justique will be dead last by many, many lengths. That race, this particular replay we're going to watch, was at 6.5 furlongs coming down the hill. Today's distance is at a mile. You be the judge of whether it'll benefit either Ruby Nell or Justique. Let's listen to Frank Miramati describe the action back on October 1st in the Unzip Me Stakes.
Off in the Unzip Me. Fast and Shiny is very quick. Make It Snow has speed too, as does Wide West, who comes right after Fast and Shiny down the hill. Alternate Rock is racing up a joint 3rd at this stage, followed by Havana Angel. She's the gray racing in between horses. Lunar Impact is next, followed by Free and Humble. Then it's Ruby Nell, followed by Wed, and it has to be another 15 lengths to slow starting Justique. Down the hill. And it is Wide West, a little bit quicker than Fast and Shiny. Ruby Nell ranging up on the far outside. Inside of her comes Make It Snow. They're followed by Alternate Rock, and Havana Angel is next. Then Free and Humble and Wed racing 4 clear of. Lunar Impact, they're at the top of the stretch. Fast and Shiny and Wide West are head and head at the top of the lane. Ruby Nell extreme outside. Make It Snow is in there too. Ruby Nell coming after Fast and Shiny. These two square off at the furlong pole. Fast and Shiny, Ruby Nell. Ruby Nell on the outside takes the lead. Fast and Shiny fighting on. It's Ruby Nell just in front though, and Ruby Nell is too strong. Ruby Nell has won the Unzip Me from Fast and Shiny. Then it was a long way back. Free and Humble 3rd.
Pete, Ruby Nell not only won the race, but look at the gallop out. It's almost like she just got started mid-stretch. She chased 43 and change fractions, 105 for 3/4, and the gallop out is really what caught my eye. And Justique, as you saw, was too far back in a different zip code. She closed late to finish a different 5th. Real intriguing race for those 2 reasons. But I know you like Ruby Nell, but you like another runner on top.
I do. And before I go any further about that, let's talk about Ruby Nell really quick. I love the fact that this horse, what was he? 5 path the whole way around the turn, running much farther than everybody else. Top of the stretch goes out to the 7 path, and still
very impressive.
Very impressive. The only reason I did not put this horse on top, only reason,
because there's a monster in here.
Yes. The other reason, on the outside going a mile on the turf. Okay?
Very good point.
You know, it's a tough, when you got speed, that means you got to send. Yesterday, by the way, Master of the Seas gave this thing out a month ago, did it for XBTV, did it for First Racing.
Well documented.
Play of the whole 2 days. The only reason I thought that 14 was going to hurt because I knew that horse does not like to come out of the gate, so it wasn't going to matter.
And what a kick.
Oh.
The isolated replay was just tremendous.
I didn't know if he won, but what I laughed about is they interviewed Bill Buick afterwards, and he said, of course we won. He said he knew. He looked at the rider of the other horse and said, I got you. And they were like, really?
You know, Breeders' Cup, obviously, Pete, is a world-class event, but it's so great to see world-class jockeys as well. They ride with such ability, such confidence.
Bill Buick.
It was one of the best, right? You know, you and I both know. But, I mean, what a treat to have those guys here for the last 48 hours.
Real quick, because I know we're getting down on time. You're right. Aniseta is it's been facing how many tough horses in the Grade 2 San Clemente, in the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, in the Grade 2 Rodeo Drive. 2 winners and a second here for Leo Powell. I love this horse. Also for the Wellman group there. I mean, Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. You gotta root for these guys. I think this horse is the likely one to beat. However, like I said, Ruby Nell. If Ruby Nell can just get a comfortable early race, doesn't have to use too much, that could be another wire-to-wire threat.
Race number 9 begins the $1 Golden Hour Pick 4. Our sister track Golden Gate is running today. That means we're offering the wager. Last 2 races here at San Diego with the last 2 races at Golden Gate. Higher minimum, lower takeout means better payouts. And we kick things off for the Golden Hour Pick 4 in race number 9, sprinting 6.5 furlongs in the main track for starter, optional claiming types. Field of 7, number 7, Disco Ball is the first time gelding, but the morning line favorite, Moose Mitchell from the George Papadromo barn, 8-5 on the morning line. Talk to us about race 9, Pete.
Squeak, squeak, everybody. Where's my cheese? I got to go with Moose Mitchell for Mario Gutierrez. You have to go back to what this horse was doing, not the last 2, but the 2 before. They were both against what I consider even a little bit less than they were facing on that day. I know when you get into optional allowance races, they think, really, is there much of a difference? Optional 50, optional 80, there is definitely a difference. People might put their horse in a race in an 80. They don't want to because they said, well, I don't want to wait another 2 or 3 weeks for the new condition book. But I think if you look at those 2 races, it makes complete sense to take Moose Mitchell on top. If you're looking for a second horse, it's my house. You're looking at speed again. You're looking at Flavian Pratt. At one point, it was his house, but we always welcome him back with open arms. You've got to go back to what we were seeing earlier back in April and May, but I think this horse makes a tremendous amount of sense. That 6.5, the extra half furlong. Sometimes you get the horses that come in that are milers and 7 furlong types. They do a lot better there than the pure 5.5, 6 furlong sprinters, because that extra half furlong can do you in.
Moose Mitchell is a 4-year-old son of Dan's and Candy. Take a look at his career earnings. He's earned $410,000, should say $419,000 in his career. Easily surpasses every other runner in race number 9. Race number 10 closes out the day, closes out the week, and unfortunately closes out the meet. Live racing in Southern California resumes next Friday down at Del Mar. First post for them will be 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. Of course, we'll resume racing the day after Christmas on Tuesday, December 26th. But we close it out here in race number 10, offering $5 Golden Hour daily double wagering, 1 mile on the turf course, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. A good field of 11 here. Lukewarm morning line favorite number 4, Stamp My Passport at 7-2 on the morning line. But you say, beat the chalk. You're going for a long shot here that you like best on today's card.
I'm taking a big swing, but by the way, you said that it's the last day of the meet.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, that was me crying. You just couldn't see it because we had the board up. Okay, I got to go with Reckless Spirit. I think this horse makes so much sense. Joel Rosario aboard.
I've heard of him.
Here's a little fun fact. When he was a 7 or 10 pound apprentice, I don't remember what it was, he was up at Bay Meadows. I had a horse up there with Gary Studi and Annabelle Studi and my partners at Black Diamond Racing. And our rider got dumped in the race before. He was fine, but he was taking the last race off. And they said, well, they called me because they couldn't get a hold of anybody else. And they said, hey, man, you need a rider.
We got this bug boy waiting around.
No, all they said to me was, well,
okay.
There's not a lot. And I said, well, where's the bug boy? I've seen so much. I've been watching him ride. They said, Rosario? Yeah, he's in there. I said, put him on. He rode that little maiden 8 like it was the Kentucky Derby. We've been very close friends ever since. I'm glad that he's staying on this horse. All you got to do, and this is all I'm going to say because we're short for time. The last 2 races were 1 mile and 1/8. Didn't have the necessary race that we thought they were going to have. Also had terrible trips on both of them. If you look at the last 2 mile races, although be it in February and May, they were both what I would consider winning efforts for this race. So I'm going to take 8-1. Honestly, I don't believe we're getting 8-1, but it was my long shot of the day. The 5-horse, is that Baj? Is that how you say it?
Sounds right.
All right, good enough. For Horonis Racing, I've got them second. Same thing, nice little turn of foot going 6.5 furlongs. I believe the mile will be fine. You go down that hillside, 6.5 on the hillside. Usually 1 mile is where you want to go on the flat.
Pete's top pick, number 3, Reckless Spirit. You can see is owned by CJ Thoroughbreds. That's Corey Johnson and his family. So good luck to that team. Certainly well known within the racing industry. Peter Lurie, you're well known in the racing industry as well. Thanks so much for joining us for the last 40 minutes. Enjoy closing day. And of course, I'll see you, God willing, the day after Christmas.
So tell me again, are we closing? Today's closing day?
With mandatory payouts. Pete, thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you, buddy.
Of course. Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Enjoy closing day, everybody. Have fun and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. Track is fast. The turf is firm. The rail on the turf at 0 feet. Here are the changes. In the first race, started the early pick 5. Please note there are mandatory payouts in all pools today. Scratch number 6, C of Cortez. Second race, numbers 3 and 4 each carry 2 pounds over. No changes in the third. The fourth race has a middle pick 4. Numbers 2, 4, and 6 each carry 2 pounds overweight. Middle pick 4 starts with the fourth. In the fifth race, start of the $1 mandatory payout pick 6, no changes. No changes in the sixth, the grade 2 Goldakova. In the seventh, scratch number 4, New York Dreams. And scratch number 6, Stan from Malibu. 4 and 6 are out. Eighth race, the Autumn Miss. Scratch 3, Be Your Best. 6, Alternate Rock. 7, Star of the Night. And 9, Free and Humble. 3, 6, 7, and 9 are scratched out of the 8th, the Autumn Miss. In the 9th race, we just have a blinker note and the start of the Golden Hour pick 4. And in the 10th, start of the Golden Hour double, number 9, Delmar Jerry, 1 pound overweight. Mandatory payouts in all pools. Best of luck today. Enjoy the racing action that'll kick off in 26 minutes at 12 noon.